The hall of the Galactic Council was made of silver walls and shining glass. 1,000 alien voices filled the air. Some hissed, some clicked, some rumbled in deep tones. It was the place where great powers ruled the galaxy. In the center, small among the giants, stood the human delegation. They wore simple uniforms, plain compared to the golden silk of other races. Yet their eyes were sharp, watching, measuring every word spoken. The council meeting began with the Chancellor, a tall creature with 4 arms and glowing eyes. He spoke of danger rising in the dark edges of the galaxy, strange fleets moving, old enemies stirring. Every race must join together, he said. Every world must give soldiers and ships. When the humans stepped forward to speak, the chamber grew quiet. The lead ambassador, a woman named Alara Vance, spoke with calm voice. She warned the council that the danger was worse than they believed. She spoke of signals captured, shadows of fleets larger than any in living memory. But the other races did not listen. A scaled reptilian leader hissed with laughter. Humans see ghosts in the dark, he mocked. They have only a handful of ships. How can they speak of war? More laughter followed. A giant insect clicked its jaws. Earth is young, too young. They should listen, not speak. The human delegation stood silent. They did not argue. They did not shout. Alara only looked around the chamber with cold eyes. Another counselor, tall and shining like glass, leaned forward. If Earth wishes to help, let them send miners and workers. They are good at digging. Let stronger races fight this war. The words cut deep. But the humans did not show anger. Still, Alara raised her hand again. She warned that ignoring the threat would bring ruin, but her words were drowned in laughter. Then came the vote. Every race lifted hands, claws or wings. The council dismissed the human warnings. Earth was overruled. The final decision. Humans would send workers, not soldiers. The silence of the human delegation was heavy. They bowed once, sharp and formal, then turned their backs and walked out of the hall. Their footsteps echoed, each one loud in the chamber. Aliens laughed as they left. The council moved on to other matters. No one cared about the humans anymore. No one thought of Earth, but one young alien, sitting in the shadows, felt unease. He watched the humans walk away and whispered, "They are not angry, they are patient, that is worse." Years passed. The council forgot, but humanity did not. Ships from Earth left the known trade routes. Factories on the planet turned silent to outsiders. Miners disappeared into asteroids. Engineers vanished from colonies. Reports came from spies, but few believed them. They said humans were building in secret, training in silence, preparing something vast. But the council laughed again. Earth cannot even defend its own borders, they said. Still, whispers grew. A trader swore he saw strange lights in Sol system. A patrol vanished near the asteroid belt. No proof, only rumors, yet in the heart of Earth, deep below oceans, under mountains, inside black space stations, the truth lived. Humanity had been insulted. But humanity was not broken. They worked in shadows. They planned in silence, and they built. Alara Vance, older now, stood in a hidden command chamber. A map of the galaxy glowed before her. She remembered the laughter of the council, the mocking voices, the dismissal. Her words to her people were simple. They thought us weak. They thought us children. But we will return. And when we do, the galaxy will listen. Her words spread through the secret fleets, through the hidden armies, through every worker who forged steel in the dark. Humanity waited. The council had betrayed Earth. They had mocked and humiliated them. They believed humans were finished, but they did not understand the fire that burned in human hearts. For when Earth walked away from the council, it was not in defeat, it was in silence. A silence that hid the sound of hammers, the glow of forges, the march of soldiers, and one day, far beyond the stars, a shadow would fall across the galaxy. A shadow made not of ghosts, but of 1,000 warships. That day was coming, and the council would remember the silence of the humans, and they would fear it. The galaxy believed Earth had given up. The council no longer spoke of humans. Trade routes ran without their ships. Diplomatic halls echoed with no human voices. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth was a silent world fading into dust. But silence is not weakness. Silence can be the mask of preparation. In the dark corners of space, far from alien eyes, things began to move. Ships without lights drifted across black skies. Machines chewed at asteroids and turned rock into metal. Deep under ocean, secret shipyards burned like hidden suns. The stars above Sol system flickered with strange glows, yet no signal left the human borders. All was locked tight. A veil of silence hung over Earth. Alien spies tried to learn the truth. The first probe that entered human space vanished. The second returned nothing but static. A patrol ship of the Krath Empire slipped near the asteroid belt and sent a single message before disappearing. The message contained only 3 words. They are coming. The Council dismissed it. They told each other the ship was lost to pirates. They laughed that humans had no power to hide anything. But still, unease spread among smaller races. They remembered the cold eyes of the human delegation when they left the chamber years ago. Time moved on, but the silence of Earth grew heavier, a silence that pressed on the galaxy like a storm waiting to break. One alien merchant, bold and greedy, tried to slip through human borders. His ship was filled with scanners. He wished to sell secrets to the Council. What he saw never reached the Council. His ship was found years later, drifting empty in the void. No crew, no data. Only a faint mark burned on the hull, a symbol of Earth. In the shadows, Earth's leaders spoke in quiet rooms. Ilara Vance was older now, her hair silver, but her eyes sharper than ever. She stood before commanders and engineers around her. Screens showed fleets of black steel rising from shipyards hidden in the dark. They laughed at us, she said. They called us weak, but weakness was only our mask. We are ready to break the silence when the time comes. The galaxy will see what Earth has become. Her words spread through the secret networks of humanity. Miners worked harder. Forgers hammered steel into weapons. Pilots trained in dark simulators that mimicked alien warships. Generals drew plans not for defense but for conquest. Still, the Council carried on as if nothing was wrong. They argued about borders. They fought among themselves over trade. They ignored the faint signals that slipped through their sensors. A line of energy here, a strange movement there. To them it was nothing. But to the few who paid attention, it was a warning. A young scholar from a minor race found patterns in the silence. He saw ships moving in formation. He saw shadows crossing the stars where no fleets should be. He brought his findings to the Council. They laughed at him and cast him out. The scholar whispered one last warning before leaving. The humans are building an army in the dark, and when they return, you will remember this day. In the hidden shipyards of Earth, the first great fleet was finished. They were ships with black hulls and sharp lines, each one a beast of war, armed with weapons no alien had ever seen. The fleet moved in silence. No signal, no trace, like hunters in the void. Pilots sat in their cockpits. Training without pause, their faces were hard. They were ready, not for defense, but for vengeance. Far away, rumors began to spread. Traders spoke of shadows crossing suns. Refugees whispered of planets suddenly silent after human visitors. The galaxy laughed at the rumors, but fear began to creep under the laughter. Ilara Vance watched the first fleet depart from the hidden docks. She placed her hand on the glass as the warships disappeared into the void. Her voice was low, but every officer near her heard the words. The Council thinks we are gone. They think we are silent forever. But silence is only the cover of thunder. When the storm breaks, they will know the power of Earth. And so the humans waited in the shadows. They built, they trained, they planned. The galaxy turned blind eyes. The Council forgot. But the darkness around Earth was alive with movement. 1,000 warships were not yet on the horizon, but they were rising piece by piece. The silence was nearly over, and when it ended, the galaxy would never laugh again. The stars were calm that night in the outer rim. A lonely patrol ship drifted in silence, its alien crew half asleep. For nothing ever happened in this forgotten sector. The galaxy was quiet here, empty. But quiet skies can hide storms. A young officer on the patrol ship leaned over his screen. His eyes caught something strange, a shadow moving against the starlight. At first he thought it was an asteroid, but asteroids did not move in perfect lines. They did not drift with purpose. He blinked, adjusted the sensors. Then his blood ran cold. More shadows appeared. 1, 2, 10, then hundreds. The stars vanished behind a wall of steel. The officer opened his mouth to shout, but the ship trembled. A soundless vibration filled the air. Their scanners burned out. Lights flickered. Then across the void, a giant shape passed close. The crew stared in horror. It was not an asteroid. It was a warship. Its hull was black, sharp as a blade. No lights shone from it. It moved like a ghost. Behind it followed others more and more, until the void itself seemed alive. The patrol captain shouted to send a message. The officer's fingers shook as he typed. Only 3 words left the ship before all systems died. The words were simple and terrifying. They are coming. Moments later, the patrol ship was gone. Its wreckage drifted silent among the stars. The message, however, reached the nearest outpost. From there it spread like fire. Rumors filled the council worlds. Some laughed, calling it madness. Others whispered the name no one wished to say. Humans. For years the galaxy had not seen Earth's fleets. They believed the humans were finished, broken, lost in their silence. But now patrols spoke of shadows, of black warships, of fleets that moved without sound. The council gathered to discuss. Their voices rose in anger. Some claimed it was a lie, a trick by rival empires. Others demanded an investigation. But no one could ignore the fear spreading through the stars. Meanwhile, deep in hidden space, the human fleets moved, not 1 or 2, but many. They crossed sectors in silence, never sending signals, never answering hails. Alien stations reported glimpses of black steel, only to vanish days later. One merchant ship swore it saw an entire armada passing beyond the rim. Thousands of ships flying in perfect formation. The merchant captain sold the tale for gold. But his eyes showed only fear. In the shadows of Sol system, Ilara Vance stood again before her commanders. The patrol ship's message had reached her too. She smiled coldly. Her plan was working. The galaxy has seen the first shadow, she said. Let them whisper, let them fear, the more they doubt. The stronger our silence becomes, around her. Screens showed fleets departing. Waves of warships vanishing into the dark. Every ship carried weapons the galaxy had never known. Rail cannons that could split a cruiser in half. Energy lances that could burn a fleet in seconds. But more than weapons, humanity carried discipline. Every pilot trained for years in secret. Every commander drilled to fight as one. No empire could match their unity. On distant worlds, alien citizens stared at the skies with unease. They heard the rumors. They remembered the humans' silence. Children asked their parents, "Are the humans coming?" And the parents could not answer. The council sent scouts to confirm. None returned. Their signals vanished in empty black. Their ships were never found. At last the council sent a fleet of its own, 50 ships strong. They searched the rim where the patrol vanished. For weeks they found nothing, only empty stars. Then, on the 7th day, their sensors lit up. The stars ahead went dark, and from that darkness a wall of ships emerged. The alien commanders froze. Never had they seen so many warships move as one. The black hulls reflected no light. The human fleet passed in silence, ignoring the council ships as if they were insects. One alien captain, desperate, fired a warning shot. A human warship turned, just one. Its cannons flared once, the alien ship was gone. Vaporized in a single strike, the rest of the council fleet broke and ran. None dared to follow. None dared to fight. The survivors carried the tale back to the council chamber. Their voices shook as they spoke. "They are back," one captain said. "The humans have returned." The chamber fell silent. No one laughed this time, no one mocked. The fear was real now. And in the hidden command halls of Earth, Ilara Vance stood before the galaxy map. Her eyes were steady, her voice calm. "The first sight has been given," she said. "The galaxy now knows we are coming. Let them prepare. It will not save them." In the stars above, the human fleets moved ever forward. Silent, unstoppable, unbroken. The horizon was dark with shadows, and the first sight was only the beginning. The Galactic Council had not been this crowded in centuries. Leaders from every great empire filled the chamber. Wings, claws, and scales glittered under the lights. Their voices mixed into a storm of fear. All across the galaxy, whispers of human fleets had spread. And now the council demanded answers. The chancellor, a tall being of crystal skin, raised his many hands. "Order," he demanded. "Order in this hall." But the hall was not calm. Races shouted over one another. Some cried that the humans must be stopped. Others begged for peace, but all were united in one thing: fear. The chamber doors opened. A heavy silence fell. Every voice died. The sound of boots echoed through the hall. Human boots. The human delegation walked into the chamber. No longer plain, no longer meek. They wore dark uniforms marked with silver stars. Their faces were cold, their eyes sharp like blades. At their front walked Ilara Vance, her silver hair catching the light. Her gaze unshaken, the council watched in silence, remembering the last time they saw her. Back then, humans were mocked and dismissed. Now, as she stepped forward, none dared to laugh. Above the chamber, screens flickered to life. At first, the council thought it was a trick, but then the truth struck like thunder. Across every screen stretched the image of space, and in that space, endless shadows, warships, thousands of them, spread across the void, each one black and sharp, each one bristling with weapons. They filled the horizon until no star could be seen. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Some alien leaders trembled, some even lowered their heads, for never before had any empire gathered so many ships in silence. Alara spoke, her voice calm, but every word struck like iron. You laughed when we warned you. You spat on our voices, you sent us away, now we return. And we do not come to beg. The Chancellor tried to rise. This is a threat, he began, but his voice cracked and no one followed him. Alara raised her hand, screens shifted. Now they showed fleets moving in perfect formation, drills of firepower that shook the void. Alien commanders stared in disbelief. The precision was impossible. No empire had ever achieved such unity. You called us weak, Alara continued. You thought us children, but children grow, and when they return, they are no longer children. They are something else. Something you cannot control, one insectoid counselor hissed in panic. What do you want, human? Do you seek conquest? Do you seek blood? Alara's face was calm. We seek respect, she said. We will not kneel to this council, not again, if you want peace. You will treat Earth as equal. If you want war, then war is already waiting at your horizon. The chamber broke into chaos. Some leaders shouted for surrender. Others screamed for war. But none could deny the truth. Human fleets now stood greater than all others. A reptilian warlord slammed his clawed fist on the table. This is madness, he roared. We will fight you. Humans or not. But even he shook as the screen showed more fleets appearing from the void. Alara did not raise her voice. She only leaned forward, her words cold as the dark. Fight us if you dare, but understand this. The first fleet you meet will not be the last. Behind every ship you see, another waits, and behind that, another still. Our silence was not weakness. It was creation. It was fire. For a long moment, no one spoke. The council chamber had never felt so heavy. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the Chancellor lowered his glowing eyes, his voice small. What? What do you ask of us? Alara looked across the chamber, her gaze steady. We ask nothing, she said. We demand. The screens behind her glowed brighter. Warships turning as one, forming walls of steel across the stars. The message was clear. Humanity did not come to request. Humanity came to decide in that moment. The balance of power shifted. The Council no longer ruled the galaxy. The humans did outside in the black of space. The warships held position, silent and still. Their guns pointed nowhere, but their presence was enough. A horizon of steel, a promise of fire inside. The Council trembled, for the humans had returned, and with them came the shadow of war. Alara's final words echoed through the hall. The galaxy laughed once. That will never happen again. The galaxy had been waiting. The Council argued for weeks after the humans returned. Some cried for surrender. Others screamed for war. Fear filled every world. But pride filled some hearts too. Pride that could not be silenced. At last, one alien empire moved. The Dravak, proud and cruel, refused to bow. Their warlord gathered a fleet of 60 ships. Shining gold and armed with weapons of fire. The humans are only shadows, he roared. Let us burn their ghosts from the stars. The Council begged him to wait, begged him to think. But the Dravak warlord did not listen. He wanted glory. He wanted to show the galaxy that humans were still weak. The fleets met at the edge of neutral space, between two suns that burned cold and red. The Dravak ships moved in shining formation. Their hulls glittered, their weapons ready. They believed victory was already theirs. But across the void, the humans waited. They did not shine. Their ships were black as night, their lights dimmed. They moved as one, silent, perfect. The sight alone chilled the alien crews. For a moment, there was silence. The two fleets stared across the stars. Then one Dravak captain, eager for glory, fired. The first shot lit the void. Energy lanced across the darkness, and in that heartbeat, the first clash began. Human ships moved. But not as the aliens expected. They did not scatter, they did not panic. They surged forward as one wall of steel. Their engines roared in silence. Their weapons awoke like thunder. The first volley of human fire cut through 3 Dravak cruisers at once. Their shields burned away like paper. Their hulls split apart. The galaxy had never seen such firepower. Alien voices filled comms with panic. "Impossible!" one cried. "No weapons should do this." But the human fleet did not answer. They only fired again. Precision, that was the word. Every human ship fired in rhythm, as if one hand commanded all. They struck not at random, but at weak points. Engines, bridges, weapon cores, the Dravak ships exploded one after another. The warlord screamed orders, but his commands were lost in the chaos. His proud fleet scattered. Some tried to run. Some tried to fight. None succeeded. The humans did not chase blindly. They hunted. Calm, cold, ruthless, a Dravak destroyer turned to flee. In 3 seconds it was gone, vaporized. Another ship raised shields. The humans cut through them as if they were mist. The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. When it ended, the Dravak fleet was nothing but burning wreckage drifting between the suns. The warlord's ship was the last to fall. Surrounded by human warships, he roared his defiance. His cannons fired until his ship broke apart. The humans did not answer. They only ended him when the smoke cleared. The human fleet stood untouched, not a single ship lost, not a single scar on their hulls. The galaxy trembled. The news spread faster than light. Worlds whispered in fear. The council sat in stunned silence. They had seen arrogance destroyed in moments. They had seen the power hidden in Earth's silence. Alara Vance stood in her command chamber, watching the battle's last moments on the screen. She did not smile, she did not cheer. Her face was stone, her words calm. "This is only the beginning," she said. "Let them learn, let them fear. The first clash is their warning. The next will be their lesson." Her commanders nodded. They did not celebrate either, for to them this was not glory. It was duty. Humanity did not fight for joy. Humanity fought to be heard. On Dravak worlds, panic reigned. Citizens cried that their fleets were gone. Families screamed that the humans would come for them next. The warlord's empire shook, its power broken in one day. Other empires watched and grew silent. The proud fell quiet. The mocking voices died. None laughed now. In taverns and markets, whispers filled the air. The humans, they said, they were weak. But now they are hunters, shadows with steel teeth. The council finally understood humanity was not bluffing. Humanity was not pretending. Humanity had changed. And the first clash was only the first chapter. Above the twin suns, the human fleet turned, engines burning like blue fire, their formation perfect, their silence unbroken. They did not linger over the wreckage, they did not gloat. They simply moved on. For to humanity, this battle was not the end. It was the opening move of a much greater war. The horizon burned with the light of wreckage. The stars echoed with silence, and the galaxy knew one truth now. The humans had returned, and nothing would stop them. The galaxy burned with whispers. The first clash had ended in fire. An entire Dravak fleet destroyed in minutes. Not one human ship lost. The council could not deny the truth anymore. Humanity had become something new. On every world, fear spread. Citizens asked the same question. Will the humans conquer us all? Some begged for peace, some demanded war, but no one could stay neutral now. The council chamber became a storm of voices. The chancellor shouted for order, but none listened. Old enemies accused each other of aiding Earth. Allies broke apart. The unity of the council cracked like glass. Some empires sent messages to Earth, offering alliances, promises, even tribute. But the humans did not answer. They remained silent. Their fleets moved through the stars like shadows. Their silence was worse than threats. It was the silence of predators choosing when to strike. On distant colonies, alien children woke screaming in the night. They dreamed of black ships blotting out the stars. Their parents had no comfort, for they dreamed the same dreams too. In the hidden command halls of Earth, Alara Vance listened to reports. Her commanders spoke of panic in the galaxy, of empires breaking apart, of races begging for mercy. But her eyes stayed fixed on the map of the stars. They are not at the breaking point yet, she said calmly. Fear is not enough. We need the galaxy to understand that resistance will break them completely. Her officers nodded. None argued, for they too knew the truth. Fear alone would not stop war. But fear turned into despair would crush the galaxy's will. And so the fleets grew larger. Shipyards worked without rest. New weapons were tested in the dark. New legions trained from moons to asteroids. The humans built in silence, the galaxy felt it, the weight of something massive rising. The breaking point drew closer. The insectoid Vayari were the first to snap. Their leaders cried for revenge. They called humanity a plague. They gathered fleets and allies, promising to crush Earth before it grew stronger. But their allies deserted them one by one. None wanted to fight the humans, still the Vayari launched a desperate strike. They sent fleets against human patrols, but they found no easy prey. Every human ship fought with precision. Every human move was a trap. Within days, the Vayari fleets were shattered. The survivors fled home, whispering of ghosts that fought with human faces. The council grew silent after that, the Drawback broken. The Vayari shattered. Who was next? None wished to find out. Yet the galaxy still struggled, pride against fear. Hope against despair. On a dozen worlds, protests rose. We must resist, or the humans will own us all. And on other worlds, voices cried, better to kneel than be destroyed. The galaxy tore itself apart. Old enemies turned on each other. Old alliances crumbled. The council halls stood almost empty. Leaders refusing to attend, too afraid of each other. Too afraid of Earth, and through it all the human fleets waited. They did not strike, they did not invade, they only appeared and vanished. Always seen, never touched, like wolves circling a herd. At last the Chancellor called an emergency meeting. Only half the leaders came. The chamber was hollow. The Chancellor's voice trembled. We must unite or fall. Humanity has broken us, but the words carried no weight. For in that very moment a messenger ship arrived. Carrying new recordings, the screens in the chamber lit up. And once again the council saw a horizon of warships. But this time it was not thousands. It was tens of thousands. Gasps filled the hall. Some leaders fainted, others wept. The breaking point had come. No empire could match this power. No alliance could hope to resist. Alara Vance appeared on the screen, her face calm. Her silver hair like a crown of steel. She did not shout. She did not threaten. She only spoke. The council is broken, she said. Your fleets are broken. Your unity is broken. We are not here to destroy you. We are here to decide you. If you want survival, kneel. If you want death, resist. The choice is yours. Her words spread across the stars, played on every screen, whispered on every world. Some empires bent their knees at once. Others swore they would never bow, but none could deny the truth. The galaxy had reached the breaking point. For in the silence of the void, human fleets moved ever forward. Behind them burned the ruins of those who resisted. Before them trembled the stars themselves. The council that once laughed at Earth now stood shattered. And the age of humanity had only just begun. The galaxy was no longer the same. The council was broken. The old empires trembled. And everywhere the name of Earth was spoken with fear. On 1,000 worlds, skies darkened with shadows. Human fleets moved like storms, vast and unending. The silence of their engines was worse than thunder, for every world knew, if the humans came, there would be no escape. Some empires chose to kneel. They sent ambassadors, gifts, and oaths of loyalty. Their leaders bowed their heads and begged for peace. Humanity accepted their submission, but never as equals. They were ruled, not partnered. They obeyed or they burned. Others still resisted. Pride refused to die. Armies gathered on distant worlds, fleets hidden in nebulae. Weapons prepared in secret, they whispered. We will be the ones to stop Earth. But when the black warships came, their courage melted. The first volleys ended their hopes. Fleets that had taken centuries to build vanished in minutes. Cities that had stood for ages crumbled in fire. The humans did not waste words, they only struck, clean and final. The galaxy wept, but the humans did not weep. In the command halls of Earth, Alara Vance watched the new age unfold. Her eyes were calm, but heavy with memory. She remembered the day when the council laughed at her people. She remembered walking out of the chamber in silence. That silence had become fire. Her commanders spoke of victories, of worlds taken, of fleets destroyed, of alien leaders kneeling in chains, but Alara only raised her hand. This is not conquest, she said. This is order. We are the storm that sweeps away arrogance. We are the fire that burns corruption. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity rules. Her words became law. Across the stars, humans placed governors, soldiers, and fleets. The galaxy bent under their will. And yet in their bending there was strange peace. Trade routes ran safe for the first time in centuries. Pirates vanished. Wars between alien empires ceased. For all feared the shadow of Earth, still not all bowed. In hidden corners, resistance burned. Small groups of rebels struck at human patrols. They planted bombs, they whispered of freedom. But their sparks were drowned by the storm. For every rebel destroyed, 10 more gave up. Fear was stronger than hope. The council chamber, once filled with laughter, now stood silent. Only a handful of leaders remained. Their voices small, their power gone. At the center sat the humans. Their presence heavy, their eyes cold. No one dared mock them now, no one dared laugh. The galaxy's rulers were clear, and they were human, on the horizon of every world. The warships stood thousands upon thousands, their black hulls blotting out suns, their weapons glowing faintly. They did not fire, they did not need to. Their presence alone was enough. The galaxy had entered a new age, the age of humanity. And yet, even as they ruled, a question lingered, whispered on alien lips, whispered even in human halls. Will they stop here or will they go further? For humanity had tasted power, and power does not rest. Alara Vance stood alone in her chamber, staring at the map of the stars. Entire empires glowed under human control. Still, her eyes drifted further. Beyond the rim, beyond the known galaxy. To the dark beyond, her voice was quiet. But the words carried across the chamber. The council thought we were weak. They thought we were children. They were wrong, now they kneel. But the stars do not end here. The horizon is endless. And so is humanity. Her commanders bowed their heads, for they knew the truth. The war was not ending, it was only beginning. The galaxy trembled, worlds prayed. Some prayed for mercy, others prayed for strength. But all looked to the horizon, and on that horizon, they saw the black wall of human warships, stretching forever. The council had once laughed at Earth. They would never laugh again, for Earth had walked away. Then Earth returned, and when it returned, it carried 1,000 warships, and behind those warships waited more, and behind them an endless future. The horizon burned with fire, and the future belonged to humanity,